Welcome, folks. Welcome to the stream. Can you all just give me a confirmation if you can hear me? And I'm joined by excellent Jamie. Jamie, say hello.
Hello.
Can you hear Jamie? Can you hear me? BBNJ
Yeah,
says
can you
yup.
hear
Excellent. I'm going to take that yup as being the yup that I'm looking for.
Yep.
Excellent. Sadly, yes, we can hear you. Baked Bean Kid, it delights me to know that you're upset that you can hear me. I may even do some shunting in the rain. Maybe not. Anyway, tonight's Workshop Wednesday, and we're going to have a look at a couple of things. What have you picked for us, Jamie?
So I've picked a run on the RHB.
This one.
Which one is?
Teilab and Gutterzugnack Skoltarasp.
That's the one. That's the one. And another one, and I've forgotten the name of it.
Supply run to North Bessemer.
That's the one. Yeah, supply run to North Bessemer.
It's on the Bessemer and Lake Erie. Bit of steam hype.
Yeah. So we've got one electric and one steam.
Super, and we're on the RHB. Can't be going wrong if we're on the RHB. What's the loco we're driving on this one?
The GE 662.
Nice. It's an interesting looking one. Anyway, let's get going. And Jamie can... No, I'm driving, only me. Sorry. Convince Jamie to drive at some point. He'll have to do streaming then as well, though. So that's... Okay. Are you set up for streaming there?
Nearly. We're getting there.
You're getting there. Good. So. As soon as Jamie's set himself up for streaming, then Jamie can do the driving, and I can sit back and have a snooze.
Yeah.
You know, like normally when I drive on the stream, yeah?
Yeah. That's true.
I was just getting in there before Moggy or Baked Bean Kid said it themselves. Because I knew they'd get in there.
Yeah.
Oh dear, oh dear. Have you been having a good week so far, Jamie?
Yeah, good, thank you. Have you?
Busy, busy, busy.
Yeah.
So much going on at the moment. Oh, it's all good. But it's busy.
Yeah.
The snoring gives it away. Thanks, Danny. God. Right. Hopefully you'll hear the game. I do like the whistles over in this part. This thing's amazing. It's just all wheels. It's like a centipede. Have you seen the centipede in America?
Well, yeah.
There's a locomotive called a Baldwin centipede.
No, I've never heard of that before.
Oh, you should Google it. It's basically, it's like about the length of about 4 of these, and it's just all wheels.
Wow.
It's a fantastic piece of kit. It's on TS as well. Hint, everybody. Yeah. Right. That's one of Repo's, actually, a third-party developer. Anyway, we are here inside this this lovely loco. This is interesting, actually. It's because it's got the dynamic brakes built into the throttle. So if you put it into forward, you get forwards. If you put it into really forwards, you actually get less forwards.
Ah.
Which is interesting touch.
Oh, yeah, the beaver. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the brake forwards and the brake reverses. So when you want to apply dynamic brakes, which you will be doing a little bit of, you put it into the brake forwards.
Brilliant.
Compressor's charging the brake up by the looks of it, or the sound of it. Should we put some lights on for the giggles?
Yeah.
There we go. That sounds like that might be a bit on the loud side, actually. Let me just dial that bit down. What you want to hear is me and Jamie, of course.
Of course, yeah. They are gorgeous locos, I must admit. They are. G4s, they're lovely. They're 6.6s, not 4.4s.
Who makes this loco? Is this Rivet or Thompson?
That's something I didn't check. Someone can probably tell me that. I'm not sure. I definitely know the route is Rivet. I'm not sure on the loco. Because I think the loco.
Someone fill us in.
Yeah, someone fill us in.
Wrong pantograph up. That's no different. That's how I normally operate, Paul Wilkinson. Is TS2 worth the upgrade from the normal? I am going to let you talk to the viewers and get an answer on that one, because I'm probably not going to be giving you the the straight up answer that you're hoping for. But you can trust the viewers. They're awesome. Except Bean Kid and Moggy.
I think with TS2021, it depends on what sort of routes you want to go into, what you want to do out of the game. So really, Train Simulator is more of a just getting in the train, driving the train, whereas Train Sim World 2, you're walking about, you're collecting objects, going around, setting the loco up, starting up, things like that. So I think it depends on what sort of way you want to go with it, really.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, there's Game Music, RB Jets. We're actually playing one of your scenarios next. The next scenario is RB Jets, isn't it, if I remember rightly?
I think it might be. Let's have a look.
Right, I'm going to use the all forwards now, which is the less forwards.
Yeah.
And you can see we're slowing down, and I'm not using the normal brakes, which is just awesome.
That's fantastic.
Amax has correctly identified that my background is a TGV cab. I was wondering if anyone would notice, because half the time I've got no idea. Arsenal fan, Amax just above you has figured it out. Yeah, RB Jets, who is Game Music in the chat, makes a cracking scenario. I strongly recommend that you go and have a look at RB Jet's incredibly comprehensive library of scenarios. There's some really, really good stuff in there. And Moggy says, RB Jet scenarios are Moggy approved. Really, there's nothing else you need to know. Moggy approved.
Moggy approved.
Moggy approved.
Yeah.
That is a seal of approval right there. It is. For TS2021, how do you set up destination boards on the ICE3? You do that by there's a button on the left-hand screen called UD. Whoops. And I don't even know what I did wrong there. There's a button on the left-hand screen called UD in the top right corner of that screen. If you press that twice, then you will be able to you'll get to the screen that lets you change the destination, the FIS. Right, here we go.
We're off.
We're off again.
Off again. But yeah. Oh, we've got some history about the loco.
Go on then, tell us, give us the info.
I've got the info. So there was 7 built by SLM, which is the Swiss Locomotive and Machine Works. They have electrical parts by BBC and MFO. They were built between 1958 and 1965. They have a max speed of 80 kilometres an hour.
Not very fast.
Not very fast, and they weigh 65 tonnes.
Are they mixed purpose, or are they mostly freight, or?
Yeah, so they were mixed. They were mixed traffic, and what originally they were. They used to pull the heavy expresses up the Albulla line, but what happened was they've now got the GE 443s, which have replaced a lot of their work. So they've sort of taken over the heavy passenger work. So the GE 66s have now gone over to mainly freight duties now.
Yeah, so because they've got lots of little wheels, which implies that they're not good at speed, but they are good at hauling.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of torque.
Yes.
Like me. Train Sim World 2, is the S12, S13 and S19 going to be in the game when Royal Dust End is released? I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. It's the majority of it is the one that runs from Cologne to Düren. I can't remember what other ones are in there. Adds quite a lot of services.
Yeah.
We're waiting for a light.
Yep, waiting for the light. We've got a very mixed rate of goods as well on that.
Let's go and have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
Containers.
Yep. I think they're very similar to the D-post containers, I think.
Logs?
Yeah.
And no logs.
Yeah.
I asked a friend of mine actually what was so great about living in Switzerland. He said, I don't know, but the flag's a big plus.
Oh dear. Oh. No, I'd say it's railways. That's a very good pub joke.
I make some of the worst jokes, and then Baked Bean Kid makes the rest of them. Baked Bean Kid hasn't replied. I noticed. What I think is happening there is he's feverishly writing that one down. Because of course I'm the first person to say that joke. Please don't give up your day joke.
Yeah, I won't. Don't worry.
Jamie, please don't encourage him. Oh dear. I'm just looking back up the chat. Sorry, carry on, Jamie.
Yeah, Richard Trainspotter's asking how we both are this evening. I think we're both fine.
Yeah.
We're doing well. So.
Am I early or something? Let me go! Gosh darn it! Oh no, here he comes. Here he comes.
Here he comes.
I'm going to edge forward a bit because I'm actually fouling the point behind me.
Ah, yes.
Paul Wilkinson asks the question du jour.
Now you see we have a good answer for one.
We didn't expect your question at all, Paul.
No, of course we didn't. Right. So, West Coast Mainline South update for everybody who's interested. The patch to fix the frame rate issues is currently in testing. We will roll it out once this testing has been completed. There will also be a second patch which will follow with additional updates.
There you go, folks.
You've heard it here.
So we've got a patch in testing, and then we've got another patch coming after that. So it's kind of, rather than wait and do all the fixes in one go, there's fixes that are ready to go, so let's get them out.
Yeah.
It all moves it forward.
Yeah.
I know the team have been very busy since launch day.
Yeah.
Jing Tang, what train is this? This is a G442?
No, it's a RHB GE 662.
662.
One interesting thing with the Swiss is their classification of locomotives. They always put the numbers in of their wheel arrangements.
Yeah, 66, so it's a Coco, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a Bobo Bo, actually.
Is it?
Coco. Yes, if you look outside, it'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
a Bobo Bo, yeah.
So why didn't they call it a 444? I'm being awkward now.
I don't know. That's an interesting one. It does
Ring up
tell-
the Swiss right this minute and ask them.
Yes.
Ahoy, Swiss. What's going on with these locos?
I just yeah. If someone's Swiss in can someone explain why they use that classification if they do know?
What other questions have we got? You want to see some serious speed, breakneck style? We probably won't see that on this route, to be fair, or the next one.
Ah, there you go.
So it's how many axles and how many powered?
Yeah, how many powered? Yeah. There you go. So
Powered
for
and
example,
total. Got ya.
Yeah. So you've got the G45, which is a 280 steam locomotive, and you've got a G34, which is a 260 tank engine.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
If Ed is in the chat, the answers to all questions. Just when you're streaming, Jamie, and you see Ed in the chat, just randomly say, "What's the ideal fire mass for this loco?"
Ah,
he likes that.
I will do.
He doesn't really.
Patrick, is it Patrick? Why are Swiss lines so slow? It's because, really.
Well, it's meter gauge. It's also meter gauge as well. You can't go too fast on meter gauge.
Yeah. Also, you got a lot of mountains to get around.
Yeah. It's hilly. It's bendy. It's twisty.
Yeah.
Narrow.
Yeah.
It's a miracle, actually. They got the railways going where they're going, let alone whether how fast they're going.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at how the RHB was built, and you look at just you look at the Landwasser Viaduct, for example. You know, to build a viaduct that goes straight into a sheer face of rock, you know, it's and at the height it was as well. It's one of those routes that's just amazes you how they actually managed to build it.
Yeah. I got a question from Pradeep. Can never get a straight answer to this question. What is the difference between Train Simulator and Train Sim World? I'm going to pass that one over to you, Jamie.
Okay, so Train Simulator is basically the simulator that we're playing now.
This is Train Simulator.
This is Train Simulator.
For me, one of the key differences, I can't press E and get up and walk around.
Yes. Yeah, so basically, as I've explained earlier, Train Simulator is mainly that you are the locomotive. So you get the locomotives and you just purely drive. The Train Sim World is more about walking around, checking the locomotive. It's more, getting achievements and things like that. So going around, putting maps up, and fixing things. So you're more of you're basically the person. You are the driver / engineer of your train. So you go around and check everything as well.
Yeah, I think the key difference is that, and it's an it's a slightly odd way of thinking about it because it's not immediately obvious. Because the perception you have of what I am right now is I'm a driver sitting in the cab, but actually, the hero of the show, the character in this game, is the train. Yeah, because if I press go into external, I'm still focused on the train. So the hero in this is the train. The character is the train. In Train Sim World, the character is the player. So you can get up and walk around and get out of the train, and you can get onto a different train and drive that. Or you can get out. You can open some of the wagon doors and climb inside the wagons. You've got a lot more freedom to sort of be part of that rail world and move around it.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of different gauge? Wider gauges you can have more people on or more freight on. Obviously, you've got bigger loads, but they also take up a lot more space. Tunnels need to be wider, platform, and the gaps and just the amount of land that's needed is considerably wider. Bridges need to be bigger, which is another big one. And they can also go faster, I think, on broad gauge. Ed will correct me on this one, probably, almost certainly. Anytime I'm wrong, Ed will correct me. But a narrow gauge fits in a lot tighter, narrower spaces. Which makes it really attractive for areas like this.
Yeah. The also interesting thing with the RHB was their whole network, or the first sort of build networks. They found out what was the heaviest gradient they could use for each locomotive. So when the Apollo line was built, they knew that okay, we had these two Cicero tank engines. What's the amount they can pull without struggling on this sort of size gradient? And that's how they worked out to build the line. So when they do all the looping and things, that was within the highest gradient limit they can do for actually pulling load.
Will this game run on Xbox Series X or the Series S? No, Valentin. This is Train Simulator, which is PC only. Train Sim World is the one that's on consoles, but there's been no announcements yet about Series X or Series S compatibility. At some point nearer the time, or maybe even after the time when they're released, at some point there'll be an announcement about that. I don't even think we've even started testing. In fact, I know we haven't started testing, so There's nothing to share on that one at the moment. Zuos. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. Ed reckons that it's mostly down to cost. Narrow gauge equals cheaper. Kevin says one main reason is that narrow the gauge, the tighter the turns you can do, which is also true.
That is very true.
You can do cheap, tight turns in small space. Yeah. That's narrow gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah, broad gauge has very wide, much wider minimum turning circle.
Yeah. Now, meter gauge is quite interesting because it has a very similar loading gauge. It has quite a wide loading gauge. Loading gauge means that you sort of like the overhang on the. Would you say sort of like the loading gauge is like the overhang on the.
If you imagine the train body is creating a tunnel through space, the loading gauge is what the shape of the tunnel is that the train body goes through. Yeah, so it's how wide is the body of the train. Where does... If we look at here, what is the width of this body? What is the height of this body here? What is the shape of it? What would a platform look like? All of this stuff is related to the loading gauge. But bluntly, the loading gauge, you imagine it as being a tube or something you're going through, and it fits that just snugly fits the train. That's the loading gauge. And yes, some of the narrow gauge stuff has got actually full size. Sorry, I've got to stop here. Some of the narrow gauge stuff has actually got the same size loading gauge, almost a standard gauge.
Yes, yeah. Which is this example with meter gauge. I mean, you go and stand in a meter gauge coach, and you almost think it's standard gauge, but it is. It's meter gauge, but it's just got a very high loading gauge.
I'm not stopping here. This is a go by. I've done it again. We need to make go-bys come up in a different colour.
Yeah.
For special people like me that don't read instructions. Shut up, Moggy.
I must admit, the scenery is beautiful on this.
It's a lovely route, isn't it? Which route is this? Remind me which route this is.
I think this is the... is it the Engadine?
Engadine line. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's the Engadine. Someone can tell me. I think that's the one. Because I know this is the route that originally the RHB wanted to build into Austria. So this is the line that they were going to build into the Austrian border, but actually never got that far.
There's no score, so overspeed doesn't count.
Plus the speed limit changes a lot as well. Let's keep an eye on it. Because of the tight curves.
Yeah, well, I've also just been given a degraded aspect, so I'm just prepping for that.
Yeah. The signalling works similarly to like LZB, doesn't it? PZB. Sorry.
It's whereas so what you need to do is count the number of yellows and greens. The signals coming up here is sort of more what you'd be familiar with in that it's a green, yellow, yellow, green. So this is 30 kilometers an hour. And then with a warning of a 30 kilometers an hour. Sometimes you'll get signals which tell you green, green, yellow, which is I think 40 kilometers an hour, and yellow, yellow, green, which I think is 30 kilometers an hour. So you get a bit more information actually about that just in the colours of the signals than you do on PZB. But then that's because on the German signals you get the ZS3 indicators with the numeric speed indicator on them.
Oh, of course, yes, yeah. Got a bit of shunting to do now.
What? You want me to do shunting? Ah, Baked Bean Kid!
Baked Bean Kid, where are you? We're shunting.
If you buy Train Sim World 2, will it be added to your Train Sim World 1 game? No, it installs as a separate game. And what happens is that all of the content you've got in Train Sim World that's been released for Train Sim World 2 will get automatically added to your Train Sim World 2 game. But it's not all been released yet. If you look up on the web for our preserved collection, then you'll get the information you want about that.
Ian Wellman has asked me, do I have any other hobbies apart from TS? Yes, so I'm a railway volunteer and model railways as well. I do love. So I've been doing that for a number of years.
What gauge?
So I do 2 gauges. So I've got OO/HO, so I mainly model British preserved locomotives or European, Swiss, German and Austrian railways. So I have got HOM as the other scale I model, which I to model the RHP.
Very nice.
Yeah. Do you do any model railways?
I don't have one of my own. I've got plenty of it in the boxes behind me. I've got G gauge and I've got N gauge. Well, the N gauge is my son's actually. But the one of my parents, my dad is 00. He's got a huge model railway. Which, if you look up on YouTube and with the web, look up the One House model railway, which is also modelled on Steam Workshop. So one of the awesome community people actually made a model of that railway on Steam Workshop for Train Simulator. So you can take it home and drive it yourself, which is all kinds of fun.
Yeah. I think the points automatically change. I'm not sure.
It needs to hurry up. Oh, it has changed. Sorry, I was following the blue line down there.
Ah.
Is this 2-player? No, there's no multiplayer in either Train Simulator or Train Sim World tank. Would the Great Western on TSW ever get extended? So there's no plans to do extensions at the moment, Richard. Would anything be done ever at any point in time? Well, it's a long distance, long period of time, to be honest. We don't want to promise things that aren't on the roadmap. So if they're not on the roadmap, they're not being done. Are they possible in the future? Anything's possible in the future.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a longer Great Western run. But no, nothing at the moment.
Just a random Lamborghini parked there.
Baked Bean Kid, if you talk to one of the moderators, I'm sure if you cross their palms with ice cream. I've got no idea, Moggy, to be honest. It's not set up like my channel, so I don't know what the deal is. Get Baked Bean Kid to post it, and if it gets banned, then you can try and figure it out. Oh, I see. It auto-collapsed it. Why don't you pass the link over to one of the moderators, Baked Bean Kid? That might be better.
Oh, there we are.
Any news on the Island Line? Not yet. Keep an eye out on River Games' website for news on the Island Line. I'm sure they'll start talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're hyped to start talking about it. When was when did I stop? What? Worrying about the driving. When was I supposed to be doing that, Moggy? Right, what are we dropping off? 8275 and 8289. 8289. 8288. What? 8275.
8275.
Alright.
You're top of Norfolk now, boy.
I'm a Suffolk boy.
You got your tractor?
I got my tractor and my combine harvester. I give you a key.
Well, he says tar lad.
Ah, dear. What sort of information can we expect from the data outputs from TS World 2? So based on what I've seen so far, and I have no idea what will actually make it out, so caveat this to absolute oblivion, in the usual way, essentially via the data API that will come essentially as part of the rail driver interface, you get access to every aspect of the internals of SimiGraph inside of the train. So lots of information. I don't think you get any access to what's going on in the game itself, but you get access to all the internals and all of the controls. So you can do all the gauges, dials, force feedbacks, joystick inputs, all that stuff, whatever you like. We are off. Where are we going? Going to that place that's on the thing in the bottom left that I'm not going to try and pronounce.
No, I'm not going to try and pronounce it either because I don't know whether it's because the Swiss talk in different tones of. It's basically the Swiss have different parts of their language, which is very similar to sort of like in England where we have different sort of accents. They do very similar, but they speak more than one language as well.
Mm.
So the Swiss, I think they speak German, French, and Italian, and English as well.
And here's me thinking I'm quite cool for just about managing to mostly speak English, but not that well. You know, because I come from Suffolk, so immediately at disadvantage. Where are you sitting? You look like you're sitting in a train, Jingteng. I am in my garage, and I am using the wizardry of green screen technology.
Yeah.
Or I'm actually in a TGV, driving a Swiss train, streaming it live. One of the two is true.
Yeah. I think the RHB would be quite concerned if you'd stolen the TGV and put it on. Because it wouldn't fit.
It'd be a bumpy ride, wouldn't it, really?
It would, yeah, it would have been.
The suspension's good, but...
Yeah.
Have I done a tutorial for driving the A4? Don't think so specifically, Artful. Although last time we did this, last week we did this?
It was the week before, I think.
It was the week before we did Steam as well, so...
yeah.
And... I did my usual, here's how you drive a steam engine.
Yeah.
Or is the garage fake and this is Trainception? You'll never know, Moggy.
You'll never know.
You'll wake up in a cold sweat one night going, I've just figured it out. Or did I? I've actually got all the lighting in here wired up to the game as well. So when I set it up, I haven't got it switched on at the minute. But when I go into tunnels, all the lights go out in the room.
Here's how you forget to fill a loco.
Oi, sharp, Moggy. Who asked you? You tried to catch fog yesterday, you missed. Yeah, well done. Well done.
Oh, oh dear. Here come all the bad dub jokes.
Can I read this message? I can indeed.
And you just have.
We are going via the next station, everybody. Remind me, we are not stopping at the next station.
We're going by.
I'm really good at stopping at go-vias and go-via stops.
Yep.
With almost 100% success rate. Green with the green means we are good to go.
Yep. Yep.
Shut up, Moggy sounds like it could be a catchphrase. Probably is.
Probably.
You know what, Moggy? There you go.
There's your catchphrase.
Yeah. No, this is Moggy done for. There'll be comments in a minute.
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Green light still. Good, good, good. Oh, this is a lovely route. These might actually be my first time driving it.
Yeah, I think it's quite recent, really. Oh. I know definitely the Loco's recent.
It's a catchphrase. Yeah, well done, JP.
Oh no.
What's my favourite route in Train Sim World 2? Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't really have a favourite route. I generally play German routes more than anything else, though, because I find them really, really nice to play. I love the PZB and German signalling system. But the Bakerloo line is great fun.
Yeah.
There's just three really cool routes. I mean, yeah, I know I'm supposed to say that, but there's just, as an enthusiast, there's just three cool routes that have got different experiences in them, and they're different in this. It's just really good. It's really, really good. So no, I like all of them.
I think with the Bakerloo line, it's just something completely different. Like you're driving tube trains and interacting with, something completely different, really. Lovely viaduct.
That's another characteristic of this area. The viaducts are amazing.
Yeah. The Wiesen viaducts, the Landwasser.
How do you merge two routes together, and what software to make it happen correctly? The software is called Danny Works' Magic. How do you do it, you ask Danny? I don't know. Sorry. I know the rough idea, Simulator Man, but it involves magic. Fortunately, we have Danny amongst us, who is a wizard and is loaded with magic. Yeah, it's not easy, Simulator Man. It is not easy.
There's actually a fantastic one of the RHB. It's three different together. So it's the Benina Pass, Benina line, and the Ebola line, and this line, I think, all together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Danny is the hero we have and we don't deserve. Go and have a look on Steam Workshop, folks, and look up Danny's stuff. He's merged just about every route that can be merged. He has merged.
Yeah.
You missed Northern Transpennine, Roy Fonseca. I don't think that's too long now. I don't think Northern Transpennine is too long. Or is that coming in fourth phase? Is that phase 4?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Mike know? Mike would know.
Mike would know.
Mike.
I should know, but... Oh, we only started on the HUD today. So yeah, Ed is doing the compatibility for it. So no, it's yeah, it probably is phase 4.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I think Mike's typing.
Mike is typing. Everyone,
Mike is typing. Shh.
We're in trouble.
Dum, dum, dum,
Will the West Coast Main Line South and the Trent Valley be merged? I don't think they even join up. Do they join up? They probably don't have the same route origin, though. So, and that's a fundamental requirement if you want to try and merge routes. They have to have the same route origin.
Ah.
Oh, hello. We've got a speed restriction coming up.
Yeah.
60 or 40 or something. I don't know. It's a speed restriction of some sort. Given the speed limit's 55, I'm going to go with 40. It would seem odd to tell me to speed up in a signal. There you go. There's 40. It's quite easy to drive using the electric brake as well, this.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to redo this one and then...
Yellow, yellow. So that's prepared for a stop.
Yeah. To a little passing bit, I think, at the station. Seems like Carolina.
Carolina Lane 2 East.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're stopping to do more... No, we're just stopping probably for a meet.
Yes, I think so.
You're back to West Coast Main Line North and on over Shap until you get Northern Transpennine. West Coast Main Line North and West Coast Main Line over Shap is a fantastic route. Keith Ross and the other community members that were involved in that one just did a fantastic job. It's so good.
Oh, it's one to add to my drive list.
You've not driven Shap yet?
I haven't driven Chap yet.
Oh, it's so good. It's Class 86s with, or 87s, sorry, with neutral sections. So and you've got to do them right as well.
Wow.
Super fun. I mean, anything that's in the 80s is just right. You know, the 80s is the best time for trains. I'm prepared for war on that point. West Coast Main Line South has the neutral sections as well. I did not know that.
I think it does, yeah.
Moggy's just posted a link on Steam Workshop for where all of Danny's routes are, so go download them all.
Yeah.
So is your ideal a German 1980s route with a tap changer loco? Sounds interesting, Ed, actually. That does sound interesting.
I'd like to see one like done at the very end of like French steam or something like that. Very end of German.
Oh, French steam looks amazing. It's got so many pipe work and so much pipe work and stuff on the outside. My mum and dad have got this some railway paintings up on the wall around the living room and the dining room. And one of them is of a I can't remember which station in France, but there's one of the main stations with 2 or 3 of these big French steam engines going. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
When you hit a neutral zone with a modern loco, do you still have to throttle down? No. I think the recommendation is that you should, but the train will handle it completely automatically. It will as soon as the power cuts out, it will then wind itself back up again once it comes back on. But the problem there is if you happen to be under a lot of push at that point, you're under power at that point, accelerating, you'll feel it cut out still. Whereas if you were to just cut the power down, drop the power controller down yourself, then obviously it'll be a lot smoother. It's not like an 86, which just cuts the power, and you've then got to reset everything.
Slam door EMUs on the Great Eastern Main Line. That'd be fun.
Slam door EMUs on the Gemmel. Yeah, I used to ride them. Like, what, 3009s, is it? 30 somethings. They were fun things.
I missed them. First thing I remember was the 86s. It's the first thing I remember.
I remember the 31s on the Harwich boat train. 31s with 6 coaches in BR Blue. Heading down to switch to Harwich. Then you've got the 47s that used to run on the main line with the 37s on freight. The 47s got replaced by the 86s. And the 86s got replaced by the 90s.
Yep.
South African steam as well, yeah, as well. I really like
yeah, definitely.
Oh, the name is completely gone from my mind. Someone remind me what is the type of steam engine that I like that's in South African steam? Okay, I'm sure that narrows it down. Just Google that. Yeah. It's
the Red Dragon, possibly.
No, it's a type. The LMS used to run them as well. They were in the UK as well. Garretts.
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 Oh, South African Garretts. Yes.
Gee, I knew someone would get it. These people are awesome. I just throw random questions out, and everyone's like, "Oh, you mean of this?" Yes.
Yes, that's what I mean. Now the interesting thing is what type of South African Garrett, because you've got narrow gauge and standard gauge Garretts.
Oh, hello. It's a choo-choo!
It's on its way.
Going a zoo-zoo!
Now this is interesting. He's actually he's put the trader car, powered trader car at the end of the... There you go. Look at that.
So that's kind of a high... He's using an MU power car as a DVT.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Which they have done. They have made very similar ones to the Allegra units. They basically look identical.
Yeah. It's one of the nice things that you see with the workshop scenarios is that people are really creative in how they use and abuse the stock that comes in packs to do different things.
Yeah.
Bay Garretts, that's it, yeah.
Bay Garretts, yeah, that's the one.
They're awesome. There was a really old, like a prototype simulator that someone developed many years ago, which was the South African Bay Garrett train simulator. I mean, it was just a technical demo. It was really clever for the time. Spore Sim, that's the one, Ed. Yeah, Spore Sim. You know, compared to what was the sort of the state of the art at that point, it was light years ahead visually. How old MSTS is now since first release, Simulator Man? It released in June 2001 in the UK, and it launched at the beginning of 2001 in America, if I remember rightly.
Remember when that came out?
Well, it just means that I keep thinking to myself, that means I've been playing train simulators for about 20 years. That's horrifying and awesome at the same time.
Yeah. Number can only keep going up. "19 years old. If MSTS is 19 years old and 3 months.
Yeah.
Someone's still got the box edition. Ryu Fran Conchester? Oh, you still got the box version from 2001.
Crikey.
Wow.
One moment. Ugh. Train can drive itself for a minute, can't it?
Oh,
Sure, it'll be fine.
Sure, it'll be fine.
What could go wrong?
You've got 3.5 kilometres before you need to stop.
Oh, I was supposed to stop?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't agree to do any stopping.
Yeah.
No. So I thought something was easily accessible. I was apparently mistaken.
Oh dear.
What are we doing? 50. We'll slow down a bit. Well, no, we won't. We'll release the brakes just a little bit.
Yep. The buffet car could have run out of Tober roads. I don't actually know what they have in the buffet car on the RHB.
We are indeed going downwards, which is why I'm using the e-brake. Really, 1 second. George Allen, any more news on West Coast Mainline South fixes update? Do you want to just repeat the news there for us, Jamie?
Yes, I'll repeat the news flash. So, West Coast Mainline South update. We have a patch to fix the frame rate issues. It's currently in testing. We'll be rolling out once testing is completed. And then we will have a second patch which will follow with additional updates.
There you go. There's the news.
Yep. There is your breaking news. Yeah, I thought it was the Engadine line. Yeah. It's one I haven't actually been on, so I've been on most of the RHB. But the Engadine and the Erosion are both two parts of the network I haven't done. In real life.
Zunes. Ease the brakes on a bit more.
Yeah.
What are we doing down here? Dropping off a wagon, dropping off some more stuff. So we're sort of working in this general area. 40 limit coming up.
Oh, there you are. There's 40, yeah. We're doing a bit of shunting down here, mate, thinking.
What is my favourite route, MLHST? Oh, people keep asking me that question, and then moments later, wish they never had. Because I go off into this route and this route and this route, and there's so many routes that I like. Narrow it down to what's your favourite route in this country doing this sort of a thing, and then you know it might help. You know, British steam era route, or shunting route, or American freight route. You know. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up listing the catalogue.
Yeah.
Which might not feel like I'm answering your question.
No.
German railroads did some quality stuff, didn't they, John Coppy? Of course, half of German railroads was Ulf, who became virtual railroads for TS2021.
Ah.
I can't remember where Ernst actually, where I think he carried on with MSTS for a little bit, but Ulf moved on to doing set up virtual railroads and did stuff on TS1. Ultimately teaming up with Mike, who was the other half of that crew, and they did some really cool stuff.
No. Must admit, I do love a good German route.
German routes. If I play a Train Sim World for leisure, I'll almost always run a German route.
Our Transport Regional, my favourite route is St Moritz to Tirano. Yeah, that's gorgeous. That is an amazing. It's certainly a very scenic one.
What's the dynamic brake used for? So there's two types of brakes on this. One is the air brake, which is this one over here. That's what they call the train brake. This operates the brake discs or pads on all of the axles that have got brakes on them on the train. The electric brake, what it does is, if you imagine way back in your science classes when you were at school, one of the things that you did, probably, depending on how far back, was hooked up a light bulb to a motor, and if you spun the motor, the light came on, if you spun it really quickly. And that's because it generates power. But in doing so, it actually creates resistance. So the way that the electric brakes work on here is they effectively connect the motors that normally drive the train to probably a massive resistor bank, or even to the wires overhead, and regenerate power. And then when generating power, they create braking force, which means you get brakes without losing your wearing out your discs and using it. Because obviously, if you imagine you use all the brake pads on all of these, or your discs on these, they all need replacing at some point. So it costs money to stop the train. Whereas, dynamic brakes, essentially. Electric brakes are dynamic brakes, Nathaniel. It's just the European way of referring to them. There's two types of them. There's regenerative and there's rheostatic. I think they're rheostatic on this train, which means they just dump the power to heat. And then you've got regenerative brakes, which actually create power up into the wires up ahead. Right, we're going to drop off the rear freight car here in 8278.
There we go, yeah, baby, keep it shunting.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it, really.
He does,
No, I think eddy currents might be subtly different. ICEs actually use eddy currents, Neil. I'm right on the very, very limit of where I'm probably talking a load of old nonsense at this point. But from my understanding, eddy currents is the way that the ICEs brake at high speed before they revert to normal electric braking, before they revert to friction brakes, which would be your normal brakes. ICE is in the German trains, yes, Catpig, yeah, Intercity Express. I call them ICE because every time I used to call them ICE 3s and things like that, and all the Germans got really upset at me. They're supposed to be called ICEs, so I call them ICEs now. I've got into that habit.
Yeah, because most of us would just, or most English would just read it as ice, think of it as, but it's actually pronounced ICE.
Why on Train Sim World can't you run anything on anything? Well, that railway guy, are you using Train Sim World 2? Because if you use Train Sim World 2, you've got the scenario planner, you put it into off the rails mode, and now you can run anything on anything.
Yeah.
Danny says he calls them ice trains on purpose, and it annoys Joe at work too, just because it's funny. I support that, Danny. There is nothing wrong with that at all. Supporting positive relations with your co-workers. Right. Zenez East. Where is that? It's right up there. Ooh, long journey coming, folks. Long journey.
Yeah.
If I put it in actual forwards gear,
Well,
it might be a quicker journey.
Yeah, it might, yeah.
It might be quicker.
I must admit, I do love all the dials and everything, all the different. It's got a lot of buttons.
Oh, this is exactly the kind of loco I like in whichever country. There's just, it feels like I'm in the middle of something that some mad genius has bolted together.
Yeah. Some people think a steering wheel on a train. How
Oh,
does
they're so good.
that?
How else are you going to steer a train?
Yeah, I know.
I was going to make mine go up and down, but you wouldn't get that yoke.
Oh, oh dear. Oh.
Will the ICE... Go on, sorry.
That's where you need the frying pan in the back of the Class 20 or something. There you go. There's your yoke.
Will the ICE4 also come from Munich Augsburg? Until things are on the roadmap, then the answer to that is no, Transporter Regional. It's everything beyond that is in the realm of the future possibility.
Yeah.
And once it goes on the roadmap, it's in the much more. In theory, anything is possible.
Yeah.
And so the pun wars begins.
Wars
Not really a
begins.
pun war. It's not really a pun war because it's the Baked Bean Kid is present, which means we already lost.
JP has just said, you'll end up with egg on your face.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time.
No.
I've been whipped before now. But I tell you what, I won't be beaten.
Oh dear. Oh no.
There's too many puns, I'll end up with a fried one. My brain will be fried.
Oh dear. I'll have to crack that one open.
Ah! God, bro, you come out of your shell.
Oh no.
Ah.
Even Mike's like, oh.
Where are we going anyway? Where's
We're only yoking Mike, it's fine.
Stop egging him on, says Danny. Neil says my thoughts exactly.
Oh dear, all these puns are scrambling my poor brain.
Yeah. Artful went to the butcher for bacon. The butcher said, "Lean back." So I did, and then he said, "Bacon." And I said, "Bacon, please," again.
Oh dear.
You started it, JP. You're the one who started it. I'm blaming you for starting it. I don't care whether you did or not. I'm still blaming you for starting it. You may not have started it, but you probably didn't.
Shaka, you two get worse and worse.
Yep.
We do. I think we all do.
Right, we're backing these back into... I think we've got a couple of cuts to drop off. No, back to siding. Drop off 2 more, and then we just stay where we are. And that's it for this one. This is part 1 of a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Eddy Currents is a distant cousin of Self-Raising.
Also, the interesting thing about the RHB is just the fact that the freight is still used with passenger.
That's really interesting,
trains.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it used to be in the UK. You'd have passenger trains with some local freight hooked on it somewhere. But they still do that here, which makes it just really interesting looking consists.
It does, yeah. For example, I was train spotting at Kerr West, and GE 442 came through with an original coach, so original bogie coach, then a new rake, the new coaches that built, and then some D-post wagons at the back, which is one of the most unusual consists, but it was brilliant. It's a brilliant place to film. If you ever get the opportunity to go over to the RHB and just see the weird and wonderful consists, go. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's one of those things you just sit back and relax. Let the engine do the work.
Yep. We're almost stuck. We're in the right place. Speedbird, can you guys make a manual tutorial for distributed power operations? So one of the tutorial streams I want to do, a bit like the one I did for the German trains a little while ago, is I want to do something like that, covering brake systems and is that one, isn't it?
I don't think you quite reached there yet, have you?
66566. Is then it's sliding 3? Oh, it's only sliding 2. Oh, I misread that. I'm glad someone competent is here. Right, is that going the right way? Yeah. Well, keep going then.
Okay, yeah.
Shut up, Moggy. Got 2 wagons to drop off in this siding.
Yep.
Probably should put them in the end or somewhere sociable, but I'm just a rebel. Alright, let's pull forward. I'm doing it in the wrong thing again.
Yeah. Also, the interesting, nice thing as well, a lot of, or most of the RHB locos are all named as well.
Really?
So if you look on this one, it has got a name. The Centis, I think this one is.
Oh, okay, in the middle there, yeah.
The Centis must, yeah, there it is, the Centis.
Oh, is Alt F4 a hack, Bob? What does that do?
Ta-da!
That was quite good, actually. I like pick up and drop off, and actually one of the things you get a fair bit of on the RHB is the pick up and drop off style thing, which is quite good.
Yeah, well, there was many instances where, as an example, where there used to be a service with a croc that used to run on a daily basis. There used to be a passenger train which took ever so long because all it did was all the way up the valley was drop off and pick up wagons all the way along.
That's my kind of operation.
Yeah.
That was the author of that one. So that was a scenario we just did. It's and that's the author. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I'll just destroy that and probably embarrass myself and say something sweary in a different language. So yeah, that was the author of that one. So thank you to that author. That was a good scenario, and there is a second part to that one. So at some point maybe we'll run that. Right, it's time for the Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Yep. Yeah, big dogs. That's the RHB is great because it has a little bit of everything. Yeah, that is very true. It is the RHB is like a modern equivalent of British Railways in some respects because it's just got everything in it. It's got electrics, early electrics, heritage runs. It's got pick up and drop off freights, express trains. It's just brilliant.
God, JP's digging into me. I only
he
pushed
said?
the wagons into the harbour that one time.
Oh dear! I bet the harbour master went happy.
Well, I was driving one of the Victory Works locos, the 56XX, I think it was. And, when you're playing a game, sometimes your brain gets its wires crossed. So I accelerated instead of slowing down. And, there was no way I was getting that train stopped at that point. So I've done it twice. Yeah, but I chose to forget the second time with my JP, so therefore it doesn't exist. Twice? I don't even remember the second time. Crikey. Okay. Right, before we get started, let's find out what our fire mass is.
Yep.
Coal up. There you go. In fact, we're at the ideal fire mass. So about 300 pounds is our ideal fire mass. That's good. Right. We are here. And we need to go onto the main to down here, to this place. So let's get going. I'll put it on full HUD so that you can see what's going on, because everyone should be loving Steam. Steam is where greatness lies.
Look at that. Someone did ask what we meant by RHB. RHB stands for the Rhaetian Railway. Basically, a lot of we use abbreviations for rail companies, locomotives, things like that.
It's a bit like you would in America. You might say PRR when you mean Pennsylvania Railroad, or you might say GWR when you mean the Great Western Railway. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
This thing's a tiny little engine by American standards. I mean, the idea of an 060 in American standards is just
unheard of. It's just like they became that as a switching locomotive, shunting locomotive. Which in our terms that would be pulling mixed traffic. That'd be a mixed traffic locomotive.
Yeah. How do you hide the HUD? So normal HUD is this big one here. You press F4 to hide that HUD. And you press F3 to toggle between the big one and the little one. And if the little one's on, you press F3 to toggle that. So just use F3 and F4 and play about with those keys.
JP, I'm sure Moggy will agree that 060 should rule the rails. Oh yes. Yeah. Moggy, question. What's your favourite 060?
Now you've set him off.
Yeah.
This is a lovely route as well. If I remember rightly, it's an enormous journey, and what they've done is they've shortened bits of the journey so that you get the feel of the route, even though it's not necessarily the full prototypical mileage, but you get this sensation of driving actually over significantly longer distances. See, my favourite 060 is the one at the Severn Valley Railway. Is it a 15? I think it's 15.
15XX, well 1501.
Yeah. The one with no 60 with outside motion. Gorgeous. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous.
I just love it how it just bounces up and down. It's so heavy, it bounces, doesn't it? The same with the prairies, they lurch side to side as soon as you open the regulator. I think probably my favourite 060. I don't know. That's a difficult one. I would probably say I do like Joan J72.
Oh yes.
It was rather nice. Must admit, I do love the sloping tenders on these. Just does make them look so different, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got some really interesting shapes of tender as well.
Yeah.
Someone asked why it's shaped like that. No idea. Not a clue.
I'm not sure. Is someone from America in here who can explain that? I'm not entirely sure, because obviously the Americans had all different types, because obviously you had coal, wood, and oil burners.
See you later, Jack.
Yeah, see you later.
Hello. Where have we ended up? Oh, we're in the caboose.
Caboose.
Better get out of there before Baked Bean Kid and Moggy start shouting something else. All of my memes will be coming with us. Richard says, "What's your favourite route in Train Simulator or TSW2, Jamie?"
What's that? What is your favourite route in either Train Simulator? So, Train Simulator, I would say, it's got to be one of the RHB routes. I wouldn't say which one is my favourite because I like it as a whole pack of the routes, really. But I'm sure there's probably one that I would probably consider more than the others, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. So any of the Rivet RHB routes, definitely. Train Sim World, or Train Sim World 2, sorry, I would probably say the Bakerloo line, purely because I just love the underground. It's something I've always, something I've always loved is, I love Steam on the Met. You know. So I think having an underground route is always something different.
Rear visibility, Kevin says. Oh, hello, Kevin. Long time no see. But yes, I can imagine. Actually, you can imagine, from being able to sort of stand up on there and being able to see down there for coupling. Yes. That does make a lot of sense because this would have been used for switching. So good visibility with down that view angle there actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, good shout, Kevin.
Yeah. Yes, because if you had the J50 tanks in the prairies, they obviously had sloping tanks, which makes sense, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, the bell's even animated, look at that.
Isabella, oh, look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. I must admit, I do love American steam whistles as well.
Oh yeah, nice chime whistle. One of the reasons I like the A4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've got a lovely chime as well.
Yeah. A little fun fact about the Britannias with their chime whistles. If you listen to Britannia and Oliver Cromwell, I think they're ever so slightly different. You can notice there is a slight difference. I think Oliver Cromwell's is slightly lower pitch than Britannia's, possibly.
Cromwell was the first steam engine I ever cabbed.
A Bressingham?
Bressingham, yeah.
Yes.
when I was about this big.
Yeah. The last big steam loco I can remember being at Bressingham was Royal Scot. It was still in LMS then.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
You saw 4884 Big Boy, Wolf Boy. Yeah, it's just been restored actually. It's back in mainline doing rail tours and things. Well, I don't think it's out and about at the moment, but it's done a lot since it came out. It's it's a fantastic loco. It's really stunning to see it back on the track again. RB Jets, Skate Music, can I ask a question about this route? We will do our best. You ask away. If we can't get you an answer, then I will force Jamie to get you an answer later on.
I think my favourite American locomotive is the Norfolk and Western A class.
Benami, yes, this is the BNLE. Sorry, carry on.
The Norfolk and Western A class. There's one preserved 1218.
I think my favourite American steam would be the Hudson J. I can't remember J something A. The ones that look like a sort of like a bullet on wheels. They used to do the passenger trains.
Yeah.
J3A, I think it is.
All funny nose cones and streamlining.
Yeah, streamlining. Just looks really, especially combined with what I think they were solid wheels, a bit like Bullet used to do. It just looks, it just has a unique look about it.
Yeah. It's quite amazing because when you compare American locomotives to British and you think they are still on the same gauge, they're still the same, you know.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
Even Big Boy is on the same gauge as the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Boy would basically flatten the UK if it was, you know, if you were mad enough to try and to take it apart and reassemble it here, England would sink.
With its weight, yeah.
Let alone the fact that it would, if it made it through any, tried to drive it through any stations, it would just bring the stations with it.
All the platforms would be absolutely destroyed.
5 more scenarios this year. We get unrecognised blueprint set we're trying to upload. Skate Music, that one is best actually going via the support team. I don't know the answer to that one. That suggests an issue with the database that maps the blueprint sets to workshop data. Right, what are we doing? We are going to MB Expressway inbound, then we are dropping off the last 4, then we're going to move those to there. Okay, let's do one and stop. So we're going to stop those at Drop Bridge Supplies. Okay. Way too much coal. It's fine.
It's fine, you'll burn it, it's fine.
It's all fine.
Oh, you got to pick up some water on this one as well. That's cool.
Yep.
You see the different shaped tender on the back of that one as well. On the yellow loco there. I don't know what class that is.
Which one? This one?
I think it might be that one. Yeah,
it's
there
got
you go, look.
coal and a water tank.
Yeah.
Sort of an older style, more conventional. It's basically a tank with a coal bunker bolted on the top.
Yeah.
Why was this route
Shame.
taken off the store? I don't know the answer to that, Adam. I see people talking about licensing problems, but I don't know the answer. Sorry, RB Jets, to hear that. Jamie, can you make a note actually and see if you can have a dig into that one?
What's that one?
Skane Music's trying to upload scenarios on Steam Workshop for this route, and he gets an error message.
So, error message for...
Uploading scenarios for Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Message for...
You see, if you forget to, if I forget to refill the boiler in Kingswear, you just don't stop at the buffers, JP. Easy way to fill it back up again. I'll show you get it back on the tracks afterwards, but that's someone else's problem.
That was on Workshop, wasn't it?
On Workshop, yes. He's getting a
so
blueprint
got
set
error-
not found.
Right, lovely. Yeah, I've written that down. He's down.
So on Steam, he's RB Jets. It's the author of this scenario, actually, I think. Right. Rear 4. We're going to temp drop E2, EP2. Directly in front of us. The Pride in Service here is 45Hs for Sandpatch. I'd love to do that. There's no plans at the moment, Kingstree.
Oh yeah, David Whiting said about those tracks on the bridge that help to rerail a vehicle while on the bridge should it derail. Yeah, they're called catch rails.
We're doing long haul today. No, this isn't a particularly long start. It's only about half an hour, this one.
That shows you the comparison in sizes of American locos. Just
little fella down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with the camera up here, you don't really appreciate just how big these things are.
Yeah. It's a bit like that Chinese loco in the National Railway Museum. You see that?
Oh, it's enormous.
Yeah.
What number is that? 80770. Yep, we're dropping them all off. Right, forward, flip switch, reverse via NBYW, water, coal and sand.
Lovely.
Where are we? Where are we going? Oh, I see. We're going to come forward, out to here, and then go all the way back up to there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure that we've got our junction set correctly. Actually, I only have to come out to here and reverse stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lovely. There's an interesting one. Yeah, Big Boy how much he can pull is 4,000 tons, 70 miles an hour.
Which is so really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, even seeing if anybody's watched that video on YouTube of Black Prince attempting or pulling over 1,000-ton train, I mean that is incredible. Just seeing that with no assistance either. I think it still holds the preservation record in the UK for the longest or the heaviest freight run in the UK, I think, for a steam loco.
Yeah.
I think there's also another video on YouTube of I don't think it's a Big Boy, but it's a Challenger pulling about 100 wagons. That's amazing, that run.
Alright. Flip the point. No, too early. That one. And then that one. Go via NBY to get fuel and service here, I guess. At NB service. Yeah, it's that line there. So I need to change that one, which will run me into NB service.
There we go. Lovely. Baby and Kid said a Gronk could do that if the driver had sufficient tip.
Gronks can do anything if the driver has sufficient tea.
Yeah. Whistle, please, Nathaniel. Someone said, they said that Chinese 484 in York sticks out like a wolf in a herd of sheep.
It's a bit different, but hey, you got the Shinkansen there as well. It's not the only foreign train in the library in the collection.
No.
I like seeing that kind of thing because it's different.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I think that was British built, if I remember. I think.
Right. I don't know if this train really had a name, Jingtang.
Probably have a class name, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
oh yeah, be a class one, whatever an 060 is.
Be something switcher, won't it?
Well, no, all of the wheel formations had names, didn't they? Like the consolidation is a 210, if I remember rightly.
Ah, and you got Malay, which is yeah.
Fuel, water. What's a mogul? Go on, what's a mogul? I don't know.
A mogul is a 260.
There you go.
So you've got your.
I know it was in similar range to this, but not exactly the same.
No. So your mogul, for example, is your Ivet Flying Pig, 26 Ivet 4MT. Your standard 2MT, and your standard 4MT, not the 260 variant, like the 460. Yeah. I think your driver got a bit wet there.
You totally did. That doesn't make sense. That's pretty much how it normally works. It doesn't look like any water actually went in the cab either. The train didn't seem to actually go. The water level in the train didn't actually go up. But I'm fine with that. I can't see any problem with that. It's going to be fine. Right.
Some sand.
We need some cool. Oh, freight bulk. Oh, consolidation's 280. There you go.
Ah. Oh yes. A 210 is a decapod. Yes, of course, decapod.
Excuse my shaking. It's my controller.
No. I didn't sound too happy.
Right, work order. Recouple to consist on drop EP2. Right, back where we came from then.
Yep.
Now we've refreshed the train.
Off again.
I don't know why the names were picked, being kid, because you got Mikado is another one as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure why they were called that. Someone must have come up with the idea when they were writing. Yeah.
Too much audio, I can hear Matt clearly. I can soon fix that and make it even more clear. Okay, so we're going to come down here. We're coupling to temp drop EP2. So basically we're going back where we started.
You're right, in episode 2 as well.
Is this show based in the States? Certainly is, Brandon, yes.
Yep.
Oh, harsh, Pandex guy. Harsh.
Oh, that is harsh. Oh.
Roy has an awkward question for Matt. Go on! I love awkward questions.
Yeah.
I'm lying. Right. Thomas, the E2 tank engine. Hello, Train Simulator. I love your game so much. Best of all your favourite, all my favourite trains except one. Thomas, the tank engine. Well, unlikely to see Thomas, the tank engine. I'd love to do an E2 though.
Which version of the E2 do you prefer? Do you prefer it without the extended tanks or with the extended tanks?
I can't remember, to be honest. Thomas, that one.
Extended tanks, yeah.
I like tank engine in general. I mean, one of the ones I've always liked, back to childhood, is the LNER J50, which is an odd, boxy looking thing, but
it's lovely.
It's just got such a nice shape to it.
I have, yeah.
I was joking with Mesh Tools at one point about it because they wanted a quick project to see how quickly they could do a steam loco.
Yeah.
They made the J50 in TS1 in that project and did a really good job. It's a lovely loco.
Yeah. There's a little joke that I know about the J50s. That there was, I know someone who was a footplate crew in BR days, and apparently they had a centre pin for the J50s. If you look at a J50 cab, it's a pull out and pull in regulator. So instead of going like that, you're going like that. They used to pull the middle pin out. So the driver used to go up to pull the regulator and nothing used to happen. The little yard jokes they used to pull on each other.
The little tykes.
Dom Wibley asked Thomas was going to be a J50 original. Yes, he was. Yeah, if you look at the Reverend Audrey's original model, it was actually a J50, and the original drawings, actually, for that matter.
So, just to Hillbilly, consolidations were called that due to 280 being the first loco built by the newly consolidated Locomotive. Moguls are called Moguls due to Mogul being the title of some big, powerful figure. 260s were considered big at the time of their introduction. Pacifics is because the 462 in America were from New Zealand, or at least the design was. Don't quote him on that last one though. There you go. See, there's an origin to all of these things.
There you go. Yep.
See you later, Richard.
See you later.
What cars are we pulling?
Yeah, what cars? Yeah.
These look like oil.
Yeah.
We'll go and pick up our caboose over there. Try not to turn it into matchsticks.
Also, if you're wondering why what we're talking about cars is in America, they have a different word for trucks and coaches.
Wagons.
No, they don't for wagons. So so they don't really for coaches, but for wagons they have.
They're pretty much all called cars because they're passenger cars or freight cars.
Oh no, that's true. Yes, no.
They're all they just call everything them cars.
Yeah.
Which itself is short for carriage, but
yeah.
right. Let's go back and get our caboose. See that, Paul Wilkinson?
Yeah. See you later.
Right, we're going to get that caboose.
Yeah, like abuse.
Graham, that's actually coming at some point. The where you can type in the hex code for the colours. That's one of the features that's being added for the livery editor.
I think one interesting thing, I think Steam ended a lot earlier in America than it did anywhere else in the world, really. Apart from obviously some parts of Europe, which they were electrified before.
I say, aren't there still to this day railways in India using Steam?
Well, there's still China. China's still using Steam.
Yeah, I know there is still Steam in active use in some places. I
Yeah.
think it's on its last legs, but
Yeah.
right, head to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Scenario end via end episode 2. Thought China had stopped now. Yeah, I can't remember. I seem to remember recently there was something about. When I say
I think it
recently,
was
it could be in some of the
soon,
last
but I
few
can't-
years, but
Yeah. I can't remember if it's exactly yet or whether it's like this year that they end. I'm not sure. I think Norfolk and Western was one of the last railways to build new steam, while the rest of America was building diesels at that point, I think, in the 50s.
oh, Schnabel cars, just hillbilly, they're awesome. In fact, we kept Schnabel cars in mind when we designed in Train World, when we designed the way that you could structure bogies to the wagons and so forth. Because in TS, in this one, it's a fairly rigid structure. If essentially you can fake and fudge all sorts of things, but essentially you have one or more bogies with a wagon top on the top. Whereas in Train Sim World, you can actually have a hierarchical set, so you can have bogies with bogies with other things, assemblies on top, which then join to another thing which articulates it, and you can do all that in a single wagon. In theory, I don't think we've built one yet, but the idea was that you'd be able to make Schnabel cars in one hit. They're awesome. If you haven't seen what a Schnabel car is, Google them. They're just awesome. Huge wagons. Right, we're off.
Yeah.
They'll never stop me making pink trains, really, New Hampshire. It won't. They can't stop. No one can stop me. One way or another.
You're just going to have a full TSW2 content list of just full of pink trains. Which would be full
I
of
almost got the user interface for Train Sim World to be pink when it first launched, but it got vetoed at the last minute.
Oh.
Probably for a good idea, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew the scenario was ending here, baked bean kids. So, yeah, I must have not quite done one of the shunting operations correctly, but you know what? I had fun, so you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed watching it. Hopefully the scenario will actually come back up. There we go. Make sure we give that a good old tick. So that was Supply Run to North Bessemer from RB Jets. So a big thank you to RB Jets, who is on the chat. We do need more RB Jet scenarios for this route. Hopefully the bomb will be fixed, yes. Well, Jamie's going to look into it and we'll see if we can get an answer. So what I suggest, Jamie, is if you give Scheme Music a quick whisper and get his details on Steam so you can talk to him on there. And we'll try and find out what's going on there.
What was it?
Scheme Music. RB Jets, do you want to just ping, or just let Jamie know who you are? And hopefully we can get an answer there. Right, folks. That's it. We've done today's scenarios. Big thank you to Jamie for picking these ones out. Actually, a couple of really good choices. Really good choices. Anything else before we finish, Jamie?
No, I think no. Well, just a reminder on the West Coast Main
West Coast Main Line.
Yeah, so if you haven't, if you've been just joined the street or just coming, haven't been here since we last updated, West Coast Main Line South update. There's a patch coming to fix the framer issues, which is currently being tested, and will be rolled out once testing has been completed. There will also be a second patch which will follow with additional updates.
There you go, folks. There's the news. Pass it around to everybody, all of those unfortunate souls that were not able to witness this stream, or fortunate souls, depending on how you look at it. Yes, let them know. Rui asked about that awkward question. I didn't see the question. So ping me, and because we need to end the stream now. Right, folks. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you, Jamie. And,
thank you.
And thank you for content creators that help make awesome content for us. So we'll sign off now, and it's Sam and Natalie next, is it?
I think it's Sam and Natalie on Thursday, and then we're back on Saturday.
We're back on Saturday with a really cool stream, actually. With a really cool stream. We're going to be running the CSX Hanover route.
That's the one.
New from High Iron Simulations on Steam. We're actually going to have the author of that route, Mr. Gary Dolezal, who you will know from Steam Workshop as well. He will be joining us, hopefully, technology and current events permitting. He will be joining us through the power of the internet workings, and we'll be having a chat. So if you've got any questions, bring your questions, and let's just have a really awesome chat with Gary. He's a really great chap. So, it should be a really fun stream on Saturday. As they all are. What am I saying? They're all fun. Anyway, we'll see you later on. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.